Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to continue our edit videos page. So we've got the basics down where we're just displaying each of our videos, having the links to the video page on the website and the video page on YouTube, and we have our nice little edit button. But right now, if you just click the edit button, nothing happens. It displays nothing, and that's because our code, we display nothing. So inside of here where we have our if statement for our edit button, we need to put in a variable, and we'll name it getID, and we'll say $_post. Make sure you put in brackets, but not curly brackets. And inside of here, we just simply want to say ID. Now, I understand that this isn't a get variable, it's a post variable, but getID, it just flows more with me, so whatever. So we're going to put in an if statement, and this is going to make sure that the user has the ID has actually been supplied, so it's been found essentially. So if getID. So we're going to say no video ID was found. So inside of this if statement right here, we're essentially going to have our query. So query equals MySQL_query. So inside of here, we're going to say select all from videos where user_ID equals, and this is our user ID variable. And then after that, we want to say and in all caps, and after that, we want to say it's I think it's just ID equals $getID. So the reason why we're checking for our user ID is to make sure that users are only editing their own videos. So you can't edit other people's videos. Obviously, that would be a problem if you could do that. But eventually, we're going to make an admin page where the admin will be able to edit whatever he or she so desires. So we're going to have if numRows, and we're going to say $numRows equals 0. And yes, that is 2 equals. And we're going to have an echo. So essentially, we're saying if the username or the user ID corresponds to the video ID passed through our post variable, then we're just going to display our form and all that good stuff. So inside of this echo right here, we're going to say you cannot edit videos that are not yours. Yeah, that works. So inside of here, we're going to essentially have we need to get our row variable, so MySQL_fetch_sock, and then our query inside of there. And then inside of here, if you want, you can essentially just grab all this info we put down here, and just copy that, and just paste it right up there. And that just saves a little bit of time with trying to retype all that stuff out. So essentially right now we're just going to make a form equals, this is going to be variable, form action equals, this is going to be site/edit videos, update for Firefox. Okay, that's random. So we have our form, and essentially what we're going to do is we're simply just going to echo out the form. So $form. So our form, we actually need to set a method equals post. So inside of here we're going to have a table, and instead of setting cell spacing and cell padding, we're not going to do that. Instead, we're just going to straight up display our stuff that we need to. This is going to be a TD and TD. So our first column, we're going to have like our text of whatever the user box is going to be, or the edit box is going to be. So for example, title. We're going to have a box for our title. So we're going to say input type equals text, and then make sure you spell everything properly. Type equals text, name equals title, value equals, and our value is going to be our title variable that we're getting from the database right there. So after that, I'm going to set a style equals width colon semicolon. Inside of here, let's say 300 pixels. That should be good. If we go ahead and just upload this to see what it looks like, refresh and resend the data. Do not edit videos that are not yours. Okay, so obviously that's a problem. Okay, so I figured out what the problem is. It's actually, because I'm kind of an idiot. First of all, I did notice that there was a problem with the end anchor tag down here for our title. And just fix that real quick. And the reason we're having a problem here is because this is set, it says equals 0. That should be equals 1. So if we change that and upload and refresh, resend, we now have our title right there. So obviously it's working. I'm actually going to set some cell spacing and cell padding. Cell spacing equals 5 pixels. Cell padding equals 5 pixels. So after we do that, essentially we just want to get our text boxes for each information that we have. So after title, we have description. And obviously that's not going to be a text box, so we're just going to get rid of all the stuff in here. So this is going to be a text area, so end text area and text area. So we want to set our text area name to description. And instead of setting a value, what we want to do is inside of our end, right before our end text area tag, we want to put our description variable right there. So right there. And the reason is because that's how the text areas work. So yeah. So we want to set cols equal to, you can leave it blank, and rows equal to leave it blank. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to set style tags so I can make everything align properly. So we're going to set width of 300 pixels and a height of, whoops, that should be height colons. Let's see. I'm messing everything up here. A height of 200 pixels. Yeah, and then after our description we have keywords. Our name is keywords. Our value is keywords. You guessed it. The next one is going to be our category. Or no, which is first, category or video ID? Yeah, the next one we'll make a category. And for now, category isn't going to show anything other than simply displaying the category. And I'll explain why in a minute. So after that, we have our video ID. And inside of here, we have name of video ID, title of video ID, or value of video ID, sorry. And then we have our last area, which is our submit button. Submit. Name is save BTN. Value will be save changes. And we can go ahead and get rid of the style tag. So what we also want to do is, I'm just going to go ahead and throw it in this area. We need to put in our input, type equals hidden, name equals ID, and value equals $ID. And the reason being is because we still have to have some sort of way, if a user changes all the information for their videos, then there has to be a way that we can uniquely identify it, each video on the edit page, that would be. So the reason why we're displaying the category, just simply displaying it, is because it's a text, or it's a select area, so it's a drop-down box. So we need to make it so the drop-down box can be dynamic, I guess the word I'm looking for is. So we can make it dynamic, so it'll show whatever the first one is, whatever the user has it set to, and then it'll show all the other ones. So we'll fix that up in a moment. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and upload. and refresh, resend the data. We now have everything here. Obviously 300 pixels wasn't big enough, so we'll just stretch that out some more. So everything's working here. So we're just going to make everything not 300 pixels. And so I'm just going to hit Control F in Notepad++. Find 300 pixels, replace with 450 pixels. Replace all. Save. Upload. Refresh. Resend. So it's obviously a lot bigger now. So everything's working. We're getting all of our information. So yeah, that actually just says changes. Why is that? No, that's why it says $ save changes. So that fixes our button there. So we have our save changes button. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work on our categories, our dynamic categories setup. So what you want to do is you want to open the add video page, and where we have our categories here at the top, what I'm going to do is we're going to have that, we're just going to copy that, and we're going to take our category variable, we're going to backspace it, and in here we're going to put in our select, so end select name equals category, style equals width of 455 pixels, and I do realize that's 5 pixels more, and that's because we need to stretch that out just a little bit more. So after we have all of our variables here, we're going to put all the way at the top our categories, just so it's easy to edit. So what we're going to do is actually just backspace all this, is where we have our categories, we have our end select, we're going to have $categories, we're displaying that. We're going to have an item, or it's actually option, value equals, this will be $category, and $category. I'm going to duplicate the line, I'm going to get rid of all the text in this one. So it's just going to say select a new category. So that just makes it a little bit easier. So if we refresh and resend, we now have our list box here. So we have select a new category, and we have all of our current categories, and we or all of the other categories, and we have our current category here at the top. So we have that set up real nice and everything. So essentially, this is going to end this part of the video, the edit videos page, videos, whatever. In the next video, we will finish up our edit videos page.